Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jess Werts, and I'm going to be doing my business and art assignment about how starting a band is identical to a startup venture. Just a little bit of background about our band and our story. I started playing guitar probably for the better half of 3 years now. I started my freshman year in college, and I played all by myself independently until about 4 months ago when I joined a cover band, and we kind of hit it off. We had a couple trial and errors, but we hit it off, and ultimately we decided to make a new band and start making our own music. And that happened about 3 weeks ago, and our band name is the Midnight 30s. We have 4 members, the lead singer slash guitarist, a lead guitar, a drummer, and the supporting guitar and bass player, which is me. And also, every member is a singer, which hopefully will provide somewhat of a competitive advantage against other local bands if we ever make it that far. So the first kind of stage that we've been through so far has been staffing. And like any business, staffing is it's almost a key factor in determining whether or not you're going to be successful or reach your full potential at least. And for us, it took a very long time to finally put the pieces together for our band, because we had a big problem trying to decipher between who was a good fit and who actually brought a different dynamic to the table. And I feel like this has got to be a big problem for a lot of startups, because I feel like people, when they come up with an idea, they immediately turn to their friends for help, and that's not always the best thing to do. It's sometimes better to have a more diverse group of people. Just that way you bring more things to the table. An example of this was kind of before we started as a cover band. I tried to start a band with some of my friends, and it didn't really work out. All of our personalities fit exactly, but we all played guitar, and we didn't really bring anything different to the table. And so that didn't really work out. And with this cover band, we all come from a different background, but it's great because we play very well with each other, and we kind of feed off of each other when we're playing. Our next step from here on out would be branding, and we got to create some type of brand awareness, which will include building a logo, a website, and social media pages, and even also like non-digitally, we'll have to print flyers and hand them out and all, but these are the type of steps that we'll take that will be necessary in getting our name out there. This is super important because the way you present yourself can heavily determine the way people perceive your band. You gotta not do too much because, the thing is you gotta make sure you don't oversaturate, especially in the music industry, because being desperate is definitely unattractive. If a band is going out there and constantly trying to get an audience to see them, they're most likely not the best band. The best bands, the audience comes to them. So you got to make sure it's kind of a status quo thing. You can't oversaturate with advertisements. The next thing we're going to have to do after that would be to find partners and suppliers. Our suppliers would include studios across the area, which would provide us a space and equipment to record. And also we would need a couple suppliers with music stores. It seems like all the time we got to buy a part. Pretty much any time we get together, something breaks on somebody's equipment. So got to have a music store. And we also have to have a couple good partners. Until we sign with a label or something, 100% of our revenue is going to come from these partners. And so it's very important that we get good ones. These are going to include bars, restaurants, and even wedding planners. It's just types of entities that we can help them out, and they help us out at the same time. So moving on to our customers. Our target customers would be people who like genres such as country, southern rock, and classic rock. And the best way to target these customers would be to partner with bars and restaurants who are known to play or host bands with those similar genres. Then we could use a target market analysis to evaluate each customer at the event, or just customers as a whole, and determine the demographics of the typical audience, which is going to include their age, gender, income, education levels, and attitudes and behaviors of those people. In turn, we'll use this info to then tailor our marketing and advertisement efforts to those demographics. After that, if all that's successful, then things will start getting a little bit serious. Most people don't realize it, but once bands reach the stage to where they're recording an album or touring outside of their local area, the band is no longer about being fun. It's actually a business at that point, and that would mean we would have to register for business names and copyright information, as well as apply for a tax file number and set up a process for tracking and recording and even filing expenses and expenditures. This would mean setting up bank accounts and creating an entity within the group. I don't know if we'd do a company or a partnership, but we would have to create an entity. So that would be a big step as well. After that, if we succeed through all those stages, there's not much more we can do. It just depends on if our customers see our product as valuable. And that's kind of a wrap with that. I'm going to end you guys with a couple quotes about entrepreneurship and music from two of my favorite singers. The first one is Tom Petty, and he said, "To sustain a career in the music industry, it takes real commitment and a strong belief in what you're doing." And this is the exact same way with entrepreneurship. If you don't believe in what you're doing and you're not committed to making that product successful, it's just not going to happen. And the second one is from John Mayer, and he said, "Rising musicians who will thrive in today's music industry will often owe it to their combination of their musical and entrepreneurial skills." And that just really hits home. You can't have one without the other. You got to be good at both. And John Mayer is a testament to that. So there you go. That's how entrepreneurship and music are related. Thank you.